Hi, this is Mark.
And this is John.
And
we're the Armchair Thinkers.
And today we're talking about the Ontario provincial election between Kathleen Wynne and the mystery man or woman of the Progressive Conservative Party.
That's right. So in case you're one of the few that doesn't know, Patrick Brown, the erstwhile leader of the Progressive Conservatives, was recently embroiled in a pretty serious sexual harassment scandal. Several of his core team resigned for the campaign, and the party felt that it was proper to pressure him to resign as well. So they're gearing up for this election that's in June. They only have a little bit of time to find a new leader to take on Kathleen Wynne, but that might not be an impossible task for them to do, and even succeed at doing, because Kathleen Wynne is not exactly very popular herself, is she?
No, and the Liberals have been in power since 2003, so over a decade. Kathleen Wynne has created a lot of wasteful programs and wasted a lot of money creating programs and then axing them, including gas plant and the Ontario pension plan.
Mm-hmm.
And she's also raised salaries, run deficits every year, and also advertised public service announcements for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's wasted a lot of money, and some people are very sick and tired of her.
Yeah, the list goes on too. I mean, we haven't even mentioned the Hydro One, the major power supply company in Canada that's been privatized under the Liberals. It's been insane, and the Conservatives have a very great opportunity to challenge this leader because even while sticking to their party's principles, they can actually put strategies forward that are fairly liberal themselves, such as, for instance, making Hydro One less... Is that the Conservatives that were doing that? Making Hydro One less nationalized, or was that the NDP?
The NDP were going to nationalize Hydro One. Obviously, we do not know what the Conservatives are doing.
Yeah.
Patrick Brown said he was going to nationalize Hydro One as well. But
oh, okay. So that's where I'm getting it from. Yeah, point is, the Liberals are, as much as they're very socially to the left, are fiscally not to the left in a lot of ways. Ontario, which tends to be, if not necessarily always, electing left-wing parties, definitely tends to be to the left in terms of fiscal stuff. Any conservative party that addresses that kind of stuff will do well. And particularly with a leader as unpopular as Wynne, their feeling is, both for good and for bad, I think it's going to backfire with them in some ways, like socially, for instance. But, I think that the plan basically is just go forward, let Kathleen Wynne's train burn up, and then capitalize on that to put whoever it is that they want to have run in power.
And, the rule of Ontario politics is that if you're the first time running, like your first time challenging an incumbent, you don't win. But what I'm hoping is that maybe there'll be enough press to the new mystery leader of the Progressive Conservatives in Ontario, they'll actually have some name recognition, even though it's for such a short time. Patrick Brown had no name recognition, but maybe this person will, and that'll mount a serious challenge.
Mm-hmm. And there's also Andrea Horwath, who, while she is further to the left than the Liberals, it's in ways that, because Kathleen Wynne has been quite controversial for being so socially liberal, particularly amongst immigrant Canadian families, which are often the bastion of left-wing parties. But Andrea Horwath is left-wing in fiscal ways, which again, as we say, is very popular with Ontarians. And I don't even think her policies are that controversial, really, at the end of the day, because they include giving out prescriptions to Ontarians that formerly had to pay for almost all of our prescriptions. Hydro One, again, making Hydro One nationalized. Very sensible policies that by themselves will definitely win her a lot of favor. And in raising the minimum wage to 15, because Kathleen Wynne was going to do that, but if the NDP also say, we're going to raise the minimum wage to 15, there you go. What reason do people have to vote for the Liberals?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I don't have a problem with the left-wing ideas, and, we need them. But the trouble is Kathleen Wynne, is a very, strong-arms everybody and fights with everybody. And sometimes that can't be a good thing, like, for example, with the Ontario pension plan that wasted a lot of money. So, you need to keep these things in mind. And so, if you can have good progressive policies without a leader wasting a lot of money, then that would be a good thing.
Exactly. Policies that actually favor the little guy as opposed to making bureaucracies big and fat and bloated. And I think at the end of the day, when it comes to like the fiscal left policies, that's what a lot of people don't like. They don't like the bloatedness. They don't like the corruption, and they see that often happening. So if the NDP can be a force against that, can try and make sure that the money goes to the people that need it, and just to the programs, and making sure those programs aren't wasteful and that they're well run, we're going to see enormous improvement.
Yeah, and there's a huge sunshine list of people who work for the government who make over 100,000, and that list has grown exponentially under Kathleen Wynne,
Yeah.
including people who are, say, a teacher, right?
Yeah.
Who, let's say, in the States might make 40,000, they make 100 here.
Yeah.
Like what's up with that?
Yeah, no, it's been absolutely horrendous, and I'm even of the opinion that teachers should be paid more, but the teachers' union in Ontario is very corrupt, and it's been more and more obvious as more of these stories come out involving Kathleen Wynne and all of the people that she's been greasing up to get her policies passed. So the question is, what can the Conservatives do to make themselves appealing after, first of all, they got rid of Patrick Brown, that's probably a good choice. But what more can they do to make themselves appealing while staying conservative? Because at the end of the day, you do run the risk of basically angering your core constituents. That's a problem I think a lot of Conservatives have nowadays. They're afraid to be conservative. They want to kind of shut up and, again, as we said, let Kathleen Wynne's campaign just destroy itself.
Well, I mean, you obviously, as a Conservative, you have to talk about taxes, and you have to make sure that you're lowering taxes for people who don't make a lot of money, because right now a lot of people don't make a lot of money. You definitely need to talk about energy, and you need to talk about lower energy prices, not only for the consumer, but also helping businesses out, which will improve the job market, because as you know, every business uses electricity. So that's what I would focus on.
Those things would sort of converge on a lot of liberal and conservative values.
And you need to say that, rather than having a higher minimum wage, keep the minimum wage, 14, but, say that rather than a higher minimum wage, you need to have a thriving business, and you need for them to have to compete for employees and have to pay more as a result. Because a lot of other provinces, nobody is paid minimum wage because the economy is booming, so everybody's wages go up.
So you think it is realistic that, as the Conservatives argue, the free market will sort itself out in that way?
Well, it works itself out in Alberta or BC, right? So it could work here.
No, that's interesting. We have high hopes for the Conservatives, mostly because Kathleen Wynne is so bad, and our hopes are so low for them. But definitely, whether it's the NDP or the Conservatives that can take on Wynne, we definitely think that no matter what your politics are, it's pretty clear it's time for a change in government and time to get rid of the corruption of the current Liberal regime.